Now, so many of us have a long way to go in our own journeys to our own success. So many of us shy away from it. We're reluctant to acknowledge it. Perhaps we've been taught that humility is the quality that's expected of us, especially as women. For today's success conversation, we have 4 courageous women who are forging their own paths, defining the success in their own unique ways, and wow, they own it. Titled, Perfection is Overrated. This topic was inspired by research outcomes showing that women will only apply for a job when they meet 100% of the requirements, when they've ticked all the boxes, while men will apply when they meet 60%. Yes, it has to do with self-limiting beliefs that women carry, but it's not about shying away from success. It's about the need to build up the courage to say that 60% is not just enough, it's more than good enough. So now, please join me in welcoming Lauren Dallas, CEO of Future Females, educational psychologist and life coach, Dr. Tshepiso Mathenki, Farah Fortune, founder and CEO of African Star Communications, and Deputy CEO of Momentum Metropolitan, Jeanette Marais. You've got fans in the audience, eh? So many fans.
I think they did it because I'm the boss.
I love how that's not a joke, eh? People want promotions. People want to keep their jobs. So go you, Jeanette. Farah, I love your red lip and you're wearing Momentum red. You know,
course.
during the month of Momentum, it's not red. It's Momentum red.
It's Momentum.
Momentum red. Now, I love you so much. I love following you on social media. You're such a ball on Twitter, and you do so much other work. Now, you launched your business 14 years ago when you were far from perfect. Yet you were courageous. You took the plunge. How? Teach us your ways.
I think firstly, I just want to get this out of the way. I did not start my business to be rich. I just started it because I was getting paid 12,000 Rand a month and I like luxury shoes and I was not going to afford that on 12,000 Rand a month. So let's just start there. Everything else came with it, but I just want to get that out the way because I get asked this question all the time and I'm just like, I don't want to lead anyone on. I like things, okay? I just like things.
Own it, right? You like things. We like nice things.
And I think for me, just, you know, at the time I did start, I really thought everything had to be in place. I really thought I needed the perfect logo and the perfect business cards, and I had the worst business cards. I actually still have some of them to this day because it just, like, as much as they were the worst, they were still mine. So they weren't perfect, but they were mine. Yeah. And I think that's when I realized so much because I grew up in a colored household with a colored mother, and we're Muslim. Guys, I don't even know how to explain the perfectionism that needs to come from there. Your samosas must be in a proper triangle. If you can't do that, you're not going to get a husband, like that kind of thing. And that's how I grew up, and everything had to be right. And I also come from a family of 6 kids. So there's 3 boys and 3 girls, and everybody had to just make sure that they were doing the right thing. And that's a lot for you as a girl because I have 2 older sisters, so now I'm like, but I don't look like that, and my body's not the same as her, so am I still the same? And you take all of that into your life, your business, and everything else. But I realized as my business went on that nothing had to be perfect, but I had to make sure that I did it right. And I think that's the difference so much in the way I've seen myself then and the way I see myself now. So perfectionism, I'm never going to be perfect. Guys, I've got Spanx under here. I have cellulite. Like, You know, you're never going to be perfect, but you just need to be perfect for yourself and make sure that you feel okay with what you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now, Doctor, today the topic is all about saying no to perfection and yes to progress. Please share some practical tips with us. Like, how do we get there? Like, I know being perfect isn't, it's a myth, it's not real. Practical advice.
If you think about the fact that you are a learner, you are learning each and every minute of your life. The conversations you've been listening to today, you've picked up quite a couple of pearls of wisdoms. And if you understand it, the more you learn, you begin to realize other things that a few minutes ago you didn't know. So striving for perfection actually shuts down your learning opportunity. It communicates to the brain that we are no longer creating new neural pathways because we already got it. So think about when you go to a dance class, there's a new move happening, there's new kwaito songs, and you decide, I don't know how to dance. The opportunity for you to get a new rhythm, to learn the new styles, to be able to feel good with the new music and actually feel like you're having fun, you've actually just shut it down. So when you stop learning because you think, I already know the dance from my age, my generation, I don't need to learn the dance from now on, you're already cutting yourself out. So you limit your opportunity to continue striving, being better and succeeding because you've decided, I am now perfect, I've already reached the pinnacle. But when you come from a learner's perspective, when you consider yourself a lifelong learner, you understand that you will never stop to learn. Even when you are in the grave, you are continuing to create a legacy of learning and education to people who are alive because they will continue with your lessons. They will continue plowing into the next generation. So have that lifelong learning mentality. And that way you're no longer striving for perfection. You're just looking at, okay, what else? What else can I learn? What else can I do? What is the new dance? Let me try. Let me do a hip TikTok video. Let me make a fool of myself because I am now living in the present. I'm learning new things as I engage in the present.
Also, can you see that is sisterhood right there?
Absolutely.
Oh, was it not for me?
Oh no, it's for
I
me.
was doing
She
for
was
her.
taking. You know, girl power.
Am I good?
No, you
No,
are
you're
good.
good.
You
You're
are
good.
you are
You're
good,
good,
sister.
You're good.
Yeah, that's
Old school tip. Old school tip.
Thank you.
So, Doctor, where can we follow you on TikTok? Because we want to see you learning those new dances.
So I am on Instagram, and it took a program going on for me to learn that I was scared to put myself on social media. I usually say to people, I struggle with social anxiety. You have no idea how fast my heart is beating right now. In fact, I can tell you, right? But what happens is every time I show up, I overcome my fear. So I am on Instagram because I've overcome my fear of social media. And then I have my little sidekick who's my daughter who does everything that looks nice. And every time I do it, so you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Tsipiso Matenji. I am also on Twitter. I am not on TikTok because I am not yet learning the lessons, but I am practicing. That's why I do step class every day. That's how I learn the moves.
Thank you so much. So, 4 incredible women sitting in front of me, 4 women who know how to own their success. Doctor was saying that we all are students for the rest of our lives. What are new things that you are currently challenging yourself with? And this is for everyone on the panel.
I'm learning to relax. It's taken me a long time to learn to relax and just every day I still have to find that balance. And I'm learning to live with a 17-year-old. It's like, wow, it's so much, guys. It's so much. She wears my clothes, she wears my shoes, but I'm learning to also let her go. I'm learning that she's becoming this woman and she has all these opinions and wants to understand things and just I'm learning that she's becoming a woman, and it's one of the hardest things for me because I know in another 2 years she's going to be off to uni, and I'm going to be able to dance in the house naked, but I'm still going to miss her. You know?
Jeanette, what are you learning?
I had to learn to compartmentalize. And I think I'm getting that very close to perfection. So maybe kind of just quickly, my husband and I have been living in Cape Town since we met 22 years ago. And of course, since 4 years ago, I'm commuting here. So you can imagine that already. You know, you on a Sunday night. In fact, COVID was great, wonderful. COVID has taught my boss that when I work from home, I'm not doing my nails and shopping at Woolies. So he's now also lived on to. Anyway, compartmentalizing, what does that mean? It means that my work from home is working from our home in Out Bay, and that means all the hours, like, you know, there's kind of little space for me. Commuting here means I live for my people and the connection and seeing them, and I don't mind if it's a dinner every single night. And then weekends, my husband's actually living on our farm on the West Coast personally. Weekends, Friday afternoons, without feeling guilty about it, 2 o'clock, I'm in the car with the dogs. We drive there for 2 hours. I get there and there's no Wi-Fi. My phone doesn't work. I don't pick out my iPad. I don't secretly check what's going on. I'm there with him. I'm present. I connect. I completely relax. And then Sunday night, I start again. And I mean, it sounds like a really stupid thing, but I had to be so disciplined to learn to do that. And these little blocks that I'm now able to divide my life into mean that I can really cope and keep my relationships going.
Thank you so much. So Lauren, your brand, Future Females, is all about being daring and fierce, and you look the part in that gorgeous momentum red. I'm hoping that you're going to say yes to what I'm going to ask. Do you also, like the rest of us, not feel fierce and daring and confident every single day? And on those days, what do you do?
Absolutely. I think something that I've struggled with for my whole life is not feeling enough. And I've actually started 5 businesses. My previous 4 were objective failures. But when people would ask me what fueled me, the reality was it was 50% purpose, 50% crippling fear of failure, working those late nights, pushing myself. And so after all of those failures, I spent some time learning how to celebrate failure instead. And so I do feel the fear, and failure sucks. I know it's learning, but it still feels like shit. When you're sitting in it, you're like, great, I'm learning, but when's it going to feel good? But I've reframed it for myself. So there's a concept called Failure Club. I'm not sure if some of you perhaps have heard of it. And it is a club where you set your goals in life and business so high that you know you're going to fail. Because if you already know you're going to fail, then the fear has gone. And then you work towards it, and you either don't achieve it, in which case you failed, you knew you would, or you've achieved it, and then you've actually failed to fail, which means your goal wasn't high enough. So that's my reframe when it comes to fear and failure.
I love that.
So we're all girls here, we're chatting. Anyone else want to share on failures?
I remember I was doing my PhD, and I think most of you would know Professor Jonathan Johnson. Fierce mind, fierce tongue, fierce hand. And I'm writing my PhD, so I used to set the pace for him, because I knew that if he has to ask me when am I submitting, I have failed. I've disappointed him. And I looked up to him. So I decided I am going to make him run. So I'm constantly going to be sending him stuff. And he was at Stanford at the time. And I would send stuff, and then I would wait with anxiety like I'm feeling right now. And then when my email would go ping, it doesn't matter what hour, I'm up, and then I'm checking what he's saying. I remember 2 a.m., an email comes in, and there's red lines. So he would print your thing and then make notes on your thesis, right? But there were red lines on pages. And one of the comments that stuck me, and this is usually what I share with people when they experience failure, and they say, "Tsepiso, I can't. It's too painful. It sucks. I want to give up." And he said, "This reeks of intellectual laziness."
Wow.
That hurt. I called my mommy. I told my hubby. I told my daughter. I told everybody laughed like you. Because they know he's saying, you were lazy to think. You were lazy to show up as yourself. You simply regurgitated what was said in the different research programs and then put it together and then said, "Here, prof, this is my product." He was saying, show up as yourself. What is your voice? What is your position? What have you learned? What do you have to give? What do you have to offer? And as a result, I am constantly checking with myself that who are you? And as a result, I've learned to redefine success for myself. I have learned that I define success not as doing more, because I can get busy, I can work. There's always people, COVID has taught us that mental health is an issue. And black people are rising up to their own mental wellness. Kudos to you. But that means we do not have permission to rest. Because if you met me at Clearwater Mall, you're saying, how Tsepi, I've been calling, why aren't you taking my calls? So I learned that I don't have to do more. I just have to be more. And being more meant the things that grow me, that fulfill me, that challenge me, that nurture me, that restore me. And that has nothing to do with how much money I make, how many clients I see anymore. It's about the impact, the legacy that I create. I no longer want to be a zombie when I get home and I see my hubby or my daughter saying, Ma, are you listening? Are you awake? Because by then I'm too tired.
Yeah.
So by being more, I'm able to show up. I'm able to take time off. I'm able to literally learn the dances on TikTok. I don't do the videos yet, but I learn them. I am also able to make my fool of myself coming into a class that I've never done before at the gym and falling and realizing, oh, okay, is this how you do it? And then watching them and then practicing. So when you get the chance to redefine what success is for you and you start striving towards it, you realize it's not about material things. It's not about who you are impressing and the feedback that you're getting. It's about the wholeness inside of you.
Sure. So wise, doctor.
Right?
How many years of studying? You saying PhD so casually. Right? Some of us never even made it there, hey?
I said, you mustn't ask me, because then I would have to explain where was my kids, my husband, and my mom, and everybody when I was studying. But I have been studying ever since I don't know how long. And I've only stopped in 2017. And I'm actually now thinking about studying because I'm an empty nester. But the years of doing an undergrad and honors, 2 master's degrees and a PhD have taught me that it is okay to not know. It is okay to continue learning. And I don't get tired, I enjoy it. So I no longer exercise intellectual laziness.
See, doctor, that's why I call you doctor all the time, because doctor, you studied so many years for that title, doctor.
Thank you very much. I receive.
You also walk your talk when you say that we need to be lifelong students. Now, Jeanette, you are an incredibly powerful woman. I mean, look at this power suit. Often the most successful woman in the room. I mean, come now. So she knows it's the truth. So is that something you had to learn along the way, or have you always been that vocal person? That person who puts their hand up and says, this is me and this is what I have to say?
My mum was once interviewed about me as a child and growing up, and she did say that, like, I found my voice before any other of her 5 children, and I've never stopped talking since then. But in a career, I did have the voice. Today, I think back and I cringe because of how little I know, and I still talked and I still had a voice. But you know, to be a bit more serious, if I think about my career, and I actually wrote it down, my career, shows you I'm older than you guys, 11,705th day of my career today. So, until I rejoined this group 4 years ago, 10,456 of those, I was the only woman in the boardroom. So you do learn very, very quickly to find that voice. You do learn very, very quickly that the only way to trailblaze a space and a path for other women, someone said earlier, leave that door open when you leave. I've always felt that when I left any organization, and I've worked for 6 if I count Momentum and Metropolitan twice, because I have started my career here and I will end it here. I've always believed that when I leave an organization, I need to leave it a better place for women. And I've made sure that I've surrounded myself with women.
Louder for the people at the back, Janet.
But, you know, I mean, I think so just why did I find that voice, or when did I find it? I found it when I looked around and I realized how desperately they needed my magic. My magic is magic that strives for perfection. And, we can get back to that. I've never given up on striving for perfection, and there's kind of a reason for that. But more than that, when I realized that my male colleagues were treating problems transactionally and I was treating it with empathy and with caring, and when I found that my voice was a different voice, it became such a powerful voice. And I found my rhythm in that. However, it's not always to be different, easy to be different.
Yeah.
And often, early on especially, I think I almost tried to be like them, to be heard.
Yeah.
And I realized very soon that I needed to sound like me, to be truly heard and make a difference. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You are the secret sauce, your authenticity.
Exactly.
Ladies, this is a big topic. How do powerful or empowered women help other women? Janet, you said it so beautifully. You've left many companies and you wanted to leave that space better for other women. Maybe first, why was that so important to you?
It is just important. Here we are. We are 50% of the population. And there's just one of us, then two, then three. And my goal was, they need to be as close as possible to 50%.
Yes.
Why not? There's no reason why not.
So how do we open those doors?
I think the one thing that we need to realize is that we actually need to support other women, really support. And one of my biggest flaws when I was much younger was that I would step over any of you to get where I wanted to be.
They
And
don't call it what the queen, the pit bull in heels.
But it was also because I had no appreciation for how much I had to go through and how much you had to go through. I didn't care. I was wanting to get into the boys' club because I thought that's where I needed to be.
It's the only way.
I thought that was my only way. And I had no empathy for women trying to get up there or for me helping or empowering other women. I was that woman who would look you up and down when you walked into the room and what is it that I don't have? I am that and I admit it, and I didn't like women very much. And it took me a long time to realize that I was at fault for that, and I needed to change myself in order to make sure that we're changing from the inside. So it's about us. It's about making sure that we as women, before we even get into the boardroom, make sure that we are concurring with each other, that we're going to take these men out in the boardroom before we even walk in. So that's the thing. As much as we say empower women, it's just words until you do something.
I want to just quickly throw it to the audience, not questions. I see you though. As a woman, who feels supported by other women?
No.
Who often feels like women are coming for you and they want to?
Yeah, you still get that all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doctor, how do we open the door for other women so that we can all do more, be more, achieve more, see more?
She said something about empathy, and when you are a woman and you've been in that vulnerable space where you are lonely, it's very lonely at the top, guys. Let's be honest. You look around, you don't even say the same things that your family members and your peers are saying because you look like you are off their heads. You no longer have common interests. So it's a very lonely. I remember when we did our interview last year that was one of the key things when you were experiencing that as you progressed in the ladder, you realize you have very little in common with people that you used to have a lot in common with, whether it's in family or it's in your community. If you can tap into that vulnerability and you realize you are not the only one, there is a collective empathy that you can have that you share with other women who are also trying to rise up. And then that activates you into compassion. And compassion is empathy with action. You now start doing something. It is not enough for you to say it. Paying lip service to it on a podium is not enough. It is what you do. And sometimes it's as simple as making yourself available to go and drink tea with people. Sit with people, ask them, how are you? How's it going? I heard that your son is struggling with whatever. What can I do? What do you need? And sometimes you know Tsepiso who knows somebody who can connect you and get you to do what you need. So it doesn't always mean you need to do it, right? So just be making yourself available and asking questions and with the intention to listen and communicate that empathy. And then when you get activated into action, you can then start saying, what can I do? And I say, ask, what can you do? Because I'm not asking you to go and take over. I get we all have the she-hero syndrome where you want to come in and rescue and assist. That's not it, because you're not trying to create dependency. So when you invite people to tell you how they need you to help, you can also say, hey, I'm not in a position to help. Actually, I don't know what you need, but I know somebody who knows somebody who can assist you. You are also able to contract in a way that is healthy for you and does not, overextend you and does not even break your boundaries because you're trying to people please. Because that's the other thing. When you are going to be there to help ladies, women, your compassion might just get you to the place where you overextend yourself and you create dependency on people. We're not going there creating a clique. We are there to empower you. So that means you're going to have to struggle a bit and learn how to achieve things on your own. It doesn't mean that I'm going to support, maybe even from behind or next to you, but I'm not taking the lead for you. So sometimes that's part of how you facilitate that change, and you actually give people ideas and you unlock and you become a catalyst for change. You facilitate rather than taking over and solving everything and fighting their battles.
Yes.
So I must just say, this panel is on fire. I've got two final questions that I would love all of you to answer. Lauren, I'll start with you. Is 60% really good enough?
Oof. I love this question because when I was reflecting on 60% being enough, I don't think I've ever been 60% ready. And I think it's because, as we all agree, success is a moving target. And we grow in that tension space between how ready we are and our goals. And so I kind of was reframing, instead of accepting that 60% is enough, what if we commit to 60%, to never being more than 60% ready, and that being enough? And if we are at 60%, instead of continuing to close that gap, we actually just raise our goals. Start again at 30, get back up to 60.
Yeah.
So yes, I think it is enough. I think we should all commit to 60%.
Doctor, what do you say? 60%?
Like beauty, it's in the eyes of the beholder. So I can think it's 60% that I'm not ready. But somebody might think, you are brilliant. I need you. I think there's a speaker who said that earlier. And as a result, I release all holds of perfection over my soul, over my mind, over my body. I am going to jump in and then find out.
Sarah?
I think 60%, for me, I personally think send your CV in. Everybody gets training on the job. Like, learn there. That's exactly what men do. I've had so many staff over the years, and only 2 of them have ever been qualified in PR. Now they're working all over the place because you train them. So why not give 100% of yourself to learning the job? My very first staff member came to me as a marketing student. She worked part-time. She is now the events manager for the Bank of England in London. So learn on the job, guys. If men can do 60%, then you can give 100% to learning whatever it is you don't know.
Yeah. The way I want to answer it is, in that question, there's the word waiting. Now, I can't wait for anything. So I can never wait for whatever percentage it is that someone throw at me. I believe that it's taking that action. And then, on the 60%, well, I'll tell you a personal story. When Nontokozo knows the story, when I was a matric, I actually brought home a report card with 98% for maths on it.
Okay.
And I was like, Dad, look at this. My dad looked at it and didn't say anything. And then later that evening, I was frantic. Why did he not give me feedback or say, well done, my child, or whatever? And then he looked at me and he said, Jeanette, the reason I didn't say well done is because you're not a 98%er. You are a 100%er. He said, if this was your sister, I would have said, well done. But why would you be okay to miss out on that 2%?
Hi, my
No.
papa is by
No, I know it's tough. But do you know that I'm still searching for that 2%? In whatever it is, there's always 2% better that I can do. But the point is this, I didn't wait for it. It's an active thing for me. And if I waited the first time when I was 24 years old in a complete male-dominated white, old momentum, and I waited to put my hand up, I would have still been waiting. I didn't. So I think in a way I got that courage, but I think I also want to say, let's never stop striving for our perfection.
Or more.
Mine is 100, someone else's might be 120, but for mine. And I think that for me is just what makes that difference for me on a daily basis.
Love it.
Ladies, it's been so wonderful talking to you. Once again, this is for everyone on the panel. And there's some girl who needs to hear this. There's some woman who feels like she's not enough. She is not ready. What do you say to her?
A quote that I live by and I recite every morning. Those who were dancing were thought insane by those who couldn't hear the music. And what that means for me is just waking up every day, finding your own song and living as authentically as you can with your own purpose and your own heart, and not trying to follow someone else's path because you see it out there. Yeah. So that's what I would say to them.
Doctor?
Sure, I wish you could ask me late at the last one.
Time crunch, doctor. Do you want me to come back to you?
I think so.
I'll give you some time.
Okay. I literally got the same question in an interview this morning, so I'm going to give you the exact same answer I gave. I feel that as women, our biggest problem is that we let society dictate to us where we should be according to our age. I'm 43 years old. I really do not feel like I need to be anywhere in any other thing besides what I'm comfortable in. For me, I feel like if you're in your 20s, the pressure you put on yourself that you think you need to put on yourself in order for where you think you need to be is rubbish. So whether you're 60 and want to start a business, whether you're 20 and you want to find that rich husband and sit in your ass all day, it's fine. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Do not let age dictate where you feel you need to be in life. Because men are 70 years old running this country. You can do anything, guys. Anything. Any field you want to be in, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, until you take your last breath. Your life is for living here now.
Halala. Jeanette?
I will say, whatever you do, show up. With who you are, uniquely you. Give it everything. And never, ever show up with bad shoes. Yeah. Right?
Dr. Tepiso, final words from your side.
So when you asked me the question, I heard you with the ears of a psychologist. I heard you say there's a woman out there listening, watching, who is telling herself that she's not good enough, she's not ready. And my heart just immediately went to you. And if you are listening, I don't know which camera I should look at. Speak to someone. Because in that vulnerable space, it is very important that you do not speak to the wrong people. And for you to realize that, shh, you are listening to yourself. Your brain, your body, your heart is listening to your internal conversation, and it will believe it. And there's nothing as a psychologist that is very difficult for us to break, and that's the power of the will. When you've convinced yourself that you're not good enough, I can't even come up with my PhDs and convince you that you are, right? So go and talk to somebody. Who you surround yourself becomes important because you now need to filter. Somebody said, tone down the volume of the negative voices, and sometimes you can't do it, but being around people who are speaking positivity can help you. Go and talk to somebody. It's a cry for help.
Can we please make some noise for these fabulous four? Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Mwah,
much.
mwah, mwah, mwah. You are incredible.
Thank you very much. Thank you.